Was a simple gesture gone wrong? Or was it a calculated treachery meant to make Jim look as horrible as possible? Now that the video of Chrissy Leakin's covert and close friendship with Jim Jones has surfaced, insiders are charging Cameron. Did Cameron go too far? What happened may have destroyed his decades-long connection with Jim Jones, and this time it's not a publicity stunt. Rather than remaining silent, James is exploding on all media. It's not just about the video anymore. We're talking about backroom deals, missed opportunities, and a brotherhood that may have been a hoax all along. Have you ever seen two monarchs turn into fierce enemies in real time? Is a breakdown of the Dipset rather than a breakup? Believe me when I say that what you're going to hear will permanently alter your perception of Cameron. Because once you hear it, it's not just shocking. It's an unpleasant fact that you won't be able to ignore. This is the beginning of the end. It turns out that loyalty dies in quiet, since what happened was not only treacherous, but nuclear. Yet Cameron wouldn't dare cross the unwritten line between loyalty, street brotherhood, and the joint ascent to hip-hop royalty. Let's go back in time. Unexpectedly, a suspicious burner Twitter account with no followers, no tags, and no followers shared a private video of Chrissy Leakin, Jim Jones's long-term lover, ride or die, and a prominent matriarch figure. Although it all began with a leak, this one was particularly violent and upsetting. Cam did it. Why would Cameron leak a film like that? Twitter was saying that before anyone could verify or refute the clip's veracity. People initially believed it to be a deepfake. Then they believed it to be old footage. But within hours, TikTok reactions became viral. Detective mode edits began to appear, and Chrissy's face was trending. How could he possibly benefit from bringing such a private problem to the public's attention? Was it spite or retaliation? Or is there another problem? However, there was ongoing strife, covert business transactions, power battles, and covert competition over who was actually in command of the group. A deeper and darker seething beneath the surface of their so-called brotherhood was revealed by more subtle attacks and interviews as their empire developed. Jim Jones was the street muscle and the heart, and Cameron was the attractive brain. Let's take a moment to discuss history, because this wasn't the first time that Cam and Jim had a falling out. Passive-aggressive verses, cryptic Instagram postings, and then the explosive moments, such as the infamous 2017 Hot 97 interview, in which Cam revealed everything from internal rivalry to financial betrayals. Jim broke down in tears, but Cam kept his cool. Fans were perplexed, but Dipset's core fanbase understood it was a wound that would never heal. In 2025, we revisit that experience, but this time it has to do with Chrissy, family, and not music. Chrissy was a mainstay on the scene as Jim's partner and a shrewd businesswoman who made genuine moves. There were recurring claims that Cam disliked the fact that he believed Chrissy was controlling Jim's business decisions. Some even said that Cam tried to persuade Jim to quit focusing on music and to become less domesticated. In retrospect, that might have been the start of the long-simmering hostility that grew over many years. And Cameron might have simply allowed all of that old hostility to blow out in the most unsettling way conceivable with a single leak. It sounded like harmless barbershop banter at the moment. According to people who spoke to us anonymously for their own safety, the video was shot more than 10 years ago. It was a private moment, somehow never intended for public view. However, suspicions start to surface at this point. One insider said that the movie was kept on a no-defunct Dipset hard drive that was only accessible by a select few. Cam is said to have taken the wheel when the crew split up during the 2010 turmoil. This makes it even more shocking. Was it a coincidence or deliberate retaliation? Jim and Jim were seen together at a Rock Nation breakfast, chatting like old friends, posing for photos, and even hinting at a potential reunion tour. Was this leak planned, or was Cam being diplomatic in anticipation of a bombardment if it came from his camp? Jim didn't say anything for long. less than 24 hours after the video went viral. Jim Jones uploaded a black screen to his Instagram account along with this straightforward caption, "I see you." The real clapback took place on Instagram Live in an uncensored livestream, dubbed "I See You." Fans went crazy, posting comments like, "It's Cam. He did it. Dipset is dead forever. Jim is going solo." That attracted over 120K viewers in a matter of minutes. Jim let loose with only anguish and anger, lacking a script or public relations effort. "Whatever you think, this man has been envious of me from the beginning." The video wasn't accidentally posted, and viewers were crying as Jim spat into the camera and yelled, "You don't touch family. You don't play with my woman." Even loyal Dipset supporters were taking sides. Jim wasn't finished yet, though, and he began to dredge up old stuff. "This is the same person who denied me funding for my 2011 tours after warning labels that I was untrustworthy." Now, there were a ton of podcasts, Twitter threads, opinion pieces on the internet discussing whether Jim was exaggerating or if Cam had truly gone too far. Since there was not a single tweet, comment, or denial, Cam's silence, which is effectively an admission in the court of public opinion, only made matters worse. "This group defeated me, and now you want to hold Chrissy accountable? You really are a clown." By deleting every photo that featured Cam, unfollowing him on all social media sites, and leaving a mysterious message on her account, Toes Down in All Storms took a novel strategy. On a soul level, we all knew that the lack of faces and names constituted betrayal, but some of the wounds were too severe. As things got worse, an unidentified source revealed something even more sinister: alleged text messages between Cam and an unidentified industry acquaintance regarding a plan to leak something spicy to harm Jim's reputation before a big business deal. If the texts are authentic, it's more than just a little drama, it's career destruction. The worst aspect is that he hasn't denied them yet, which raises the issues of whether Cam actually did it, why he isn't defending himself, and why he remains silent while his name is being dragged through digital hell. Perhaps Cam knew this day would arrive and was prepared to burn everything down. And just when we thought the chaos was at its height, something even more unexpected happened, and things began to go out of hand. Jim Jones believed he had revealed all the secrets Cameron might have been keeping. But new revelations of treachery began to surface, like a web of the texts were genuine. But this is where things start to get a little heated. No, there was more than just the released footage. According to people familiar with the matter, these purported exchanges between Cam and an unidentified industry insider present a much more negative image. In them, Cam describes how, in addition to destroying Jim's brand with a single video leak, he orchestrated a whole smear campaign to harm Jim's standing in the industry. Let's hit him where it hurts. His woman, his money, his fans. That's right, his fans. One of the purported texts said, "The right amount of dirt can break him down." The message went on to explain how Jim's Instagram Live fundamentally altered the game and the discourse, turning it into one about the full legacy of Dipset rather than just the video. Despite this, industry friends supposedly telling Cam to keep it low-key, fans and industry insiders began to question whether all those years of devotion were simply a squandered business deal. And the public's opinion of the team was set to take a serious knock. Everybody was a detective. Is Cam in charge of this? Was he always attempting to evict Jim from Dipset? Is this a planned action to take back control of the group? It would be the most premeditated act in hip-hop history if Cam did leak the tape as part of a bigger plan to ruin Jim. Imagine eliminating a sibling through the most personal betrayals, damaging both his professional and personal lives while remaining silent. Cam used his quiet treatment as a power move since he was enjoying the show and knew that if he didn't speak, everyone would turn against him. However, things became ugly at this point. Soon as fans began researching Cam's past, certain disturbing trends were apparent. Fans discovered several old pictures of Cam alongside other rappers who had been thrown out once they were no longer needed in a Twitter thread that shocked the internet. Cam was obviously well known for cultivating enemies in addition to making hits. According to some sources, the leaks went beyond Chrissy's video and included financial records, private correspondence, and images that were given to bloggers and dubious websites that were keen to disseminate the claims. You guessed it, an unidentified third party who had previously been connected to both Jim and Cam was the source of the disclosures. The odd aspect, though, is that this third party, whom we'll refer to as the puppet master, allegedly got in touch with Jim and Cam individually, giving them exclusive interviews and deals, and even attempting to arrange their fabled reunion. The problem is that they wanted to dominate the narrative, make money off of the dispute, publicize it, and make it a spectacle. The puppet master's goal was very clear: to intensify the rivalry to the point where the two ex-brothers could never get back together. It was the ultimate betrayal. It was more than just business. Fundamentally, who is the circumstance, Jim or Cam? Or is there something even more sinister at play? Whatever the reality, we cannot deny that the consequences of this controversy will extend beyond their relationship. Because the entire business trembles when two legends fail in the most devastating way possible. We mean explosive when we say public. It's the final part of this amazing tale. And the devastation is not just private, but also public. We've only scratched the surface of the issue, which now extends beyond Jim and Cam and encompasses the entire culture of loyalty, treachery, and ambition that unites the hip-hop community. It will their music, fans, lives, and legacies. Publicists, managers, and their old label are among the individuals deep into their networks. You might assume these are merely rumors. Sources close to both Cam and Jim, who recalled having their hands in a number of profitable business endeavors, started to leak a troubling story as the financial repercussions of this betrayal started to hammer harder than any lyric or diss track could. It was a huge financial loss for both guys. It turns out that Cameron's efforts to revive his solo career encountered a significant obstacle when a series of business partners withdrew, questioning whether supporting the rapper was the proper course of action. The ramifications of this industrial dispute have been felt negatively by executives. For instance, it has been reported that Jim Jones had several endorsement deals placed on indefinite hold, and that his collaboration with a renowned luxury brand was halted because the company was unable to pay for the scandal that was harming his reputation, and did not want to be linked to the ongoing drama in his personal life. It became evident that the drama was no longer just about the music, but also about survival when the lawsuits and the actual business side of the fallout occurred, was followed by a flurry of accusations, counterclaims, and rumors about unpaid contracts, shaky financial dealings, and even rumors that Cam was being sued by a former label executive over alleged mismanagement of funds. Cam and Jim had to make some serious decisions quickly or risk losing everything. Settlements initially, Jim Jones filed a formal lawsuit against Cameron for defamation, citing a combination of slander, conspiracy, and emotional distress due to the leaked video and public attacks on his personal life. What was even more shocking was the rumor that Jim was demanding millions of dollars in damages and a public apology from Cam. A claim so audacious that it caught even the most experienced attorneys off guard. Cameron, however, was determined to not let go unpunished, so he retaliated by claiming that Jim had been extorting him for years, that Jim had stolen money and used their connection to influence business dealings, and that now he was looking for a sizable compensation for himself. Legal experts predict that this case might go on for years, and the public's perception of both men kept getting worse every day. Fans began to learn more about the narrative as the bombshells came in, and the more they discovered, the more their allegiance was questioned. After the bombshells, it was difficult to overlook the developing rift between the two groups of Dipset followers, even while the underdog narrative was in full force. Fans were initially unsure of whom to trust. Some supported Jim, arguing that Cam had gone too far, while others said Cam had good reason to feel deceived after years of seeing Jim take a back seat.
For the video.
Leak went public. Leaked footage of Jim's emotional breakdown surfaced, including a particularly disturbing clip in which he asked himself, "Is this how they really feel about me after everything we've been through?" His only public statement was a tweet that said, "Sometimes the truth hurts, but it has to be said." He said this while staring at his phone screen, while Cam remained unconcerned and fell silent again. There was no explanation or apology, just a cold, calculating comment that only served to stoke the fire. Discovered another side of him, a cunning, self-centered businessman who would stop at nothing to maintain power. While some fans abandoned ship, others took to social media to show support for their favorite artist. And the industry noticed that their once shared unity was eroding, and that their authority was diminishing as they argued more. Both men were at fault, whether they could ever make amends or whether their actions permanently damaged the legacy they built together. Now, let's talk about Chrissy, because she is at the center of this. Naturally, Jim's longtime partner, Chrissy Lumpkin, was at the center of the entire altercation. As the drama developed, her name was also mentioned in public, and it became evident that she was complicit in this disaster. However, fans were unaware at the time that Chrissy wasn't just a victim. There were claims that she knew about the betrayal before anyone else did. And some even claimed that she had been pressuring Jim to take action against Cam after seeing the tape before it was made public. The saddest part was that it was no longer just about the men. People who had previously supported them were suddenly stepping aside to avoid being caught in the crossfire of an out-of-control rivalry. And the longer went on, the more people who had previously backed them were drawn into the consequences. Only made the mystery even more complex. Did she have a reason for remaining silent while everything fell apart? Or was she merely a piece in this game, while their reputations are at risk? So is their place in hip-hop history books, which puts the legacy they have built up over the years in jeopardy. But as the lawsuits pile up, public opinion changes, and the music industry waits. The question still stands. Is there any way out of this predicament? Is this quarrel really the end of the Dipset period? Or can Jim and Cam ever make amends? One thing is certain, though. The story is not yet finished, as the final chapters have not yet been finished. This epic struggle of brotherhood, betrayal, and shattered relationships is topped with the truth behind the Jim Jones and Cameron conflict, the shattered bond, and the explosive fallout that is roiling the hip-hop world. The true question, though, is who is at fault here? Was it Jim's own ambition and greed that ignited the fire? Or was it Cam's betrayal that set everything in motion? In the remarks section below. Is Dipset's rule coming to an end? Or do you think they can ever resolve their differences? Please remember to use the like button and share this video if you liked this in-depth look at the turmoil. That concludes today's incredible tale. The drama is far from over and the entire world is watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I want to know your thoughts before you go. To pursue Cameron in this manner, or did Cameron receive bad treatment in all of this? Since I'm reading every remark, I'd like to know if you support Jim or Cam, or if you believe that this whole situation has been a complete disaster from the start. Remember to like, comment, and share this video to keep the conversation going.